Changing your life and chasing your dreams can seem like a very big and scary thing. So I'm going to show you in this video how simple it really is, and it really can be when you adopt the mindset that I'm about to share with you. You're standing here. This is you, this is your dimension, okay? Because time doesn't exist in the non-physical. Every possibility, every dimension exists all at once. You're in this dimension. This is your desired reality, okay? We'll put a love heart in there just to cue you so that you know this is the desired reality. So let's say, for example, you're in a reality where you're working a 9-to-5 job that you hate. You want to launch your dream business. You want to launch a business. You just want some financial independence and some freedom with your time to make money on your own, okay? That's your desired reality. But right now, you're clocking in every day. You are waking up in the morning, your alarm goes off at 7 a.m. every day, you roll out of bed, you make your cup of coffee, you complain about your day, you go out into the world, you complain with your coworkers, you say how bad your life is, and you watch 5 Instagram reels that kind of inspire you, but you don't actually get motivated to do any actual physical actions. Then you're too tired by the time you get home, then you go to bed, then you wake up and you do the same thing the next day. So that's your current reality, and you're trying to go to this desired reality. What you need to know is you right now have a series of choices available to you. At any given moment, there are a series of choices before you, and that's all you fucking have to work with. And that is enough to work with. That's all anybody gets at any given moment is a series of choices, a series of next steps and decisions to make. So right now when you're standing here, you've got, see all these little streams here? These are choices. No matter what situation you're in right now, there are numerous choices available to you. And the choice that you go with is going to have a butterfly effect as to where you end up. Every decision you make is a portal to another experience. Every decision you make basically shifts you onto the timeline that corresponds with the version of you who's made that decision. And every other decision that you didn't make falls away into parallel realities. So let's say, for example, you wake up in the morning and you make the decision again. You choose to live the day again as the same version of you as you have been for 30 years. You choose to complain, you choose to engage in gossip, you choose to keep scrolling on Instagram, you choose to put off starting researching business models or whatever that next step is. You choose to stay up too late, you choose to not get enough sleep. You make all these same choices. Just know, each time you make one of those choices, there's a parallel version of you making another choice. That possibility actually exists in the quantum field. So there is an actual parallel version of you who's already there, because time is non-linear. Time in the beyond this 3D experience and above in the 4D, 5D and higher dimensions, there is no path of time. There are just dimensions existing on top of each other like this. So everything that you want has already happened. Everything that you don't want has already happened. You can relax and you can know that any choice that you need to make will become available to you so long as you make the correct choices right now in this moment. So all you ever have in any given moment is the opportunity to make a decision. And most of us waste our time making the wrong decisions because we're worried we'll never get there. We're too focused on what we don't have. We're too focused on why our life is bad. We're too focused on all the things that are wrong or negative that are in front of us that we can't see the choices that we can actually make. But the choices before you right now are exactly what you need right now. You don't need a decision that's going to be made down here. You don't need an option that's going to be made available over here. You need to make the choice exactly where you are with what you have right now. And all you have to do is keep doing that, and eventually you'll get there. Let me give you an example of this from my own life. When I was back in Ireland, let's zoom it back before that. When I was in a toxic relationship living in London and the whole thing felt super wrong and misaligned, and I could feel my soul dying, I could have decided to continue to stay in that relationship. I could have decided to continue living with this person in this place that I hated. I could have decided to keep ignoring my intuition to leave and to move abroad. but I didn't. Okay, maybe a parallel version of me did decide to stay. And my life right now, instead of being over here, that would have ripple affected into me being down here in an undesired reality. I would still be in that toxic relationship. I would still be very upset and triggered and insecure. And I would definitely not have started my dream business. Absolutely not. I would not have a lovely suntan because I live in Spain. I would not be around the people that I'm around right now. I would not be having the experiences that I'm having right now. I would be a very watered down, miserable version of myself. But I did make those decisions. So the decision to leave that relationship rippled into a decision for me to move home, rippled into a decision for me to eventually move here to Spain, rippled into all the decisions that I had to make when I was preparing to move, right? So I was living in Ireland, in the box room, in my family home, wanting this big, sexy dream life, the one that I'm living right now, where I'm financially free, running my dream business. I've got aligned connections. I've got an amazing partner. I do fun shit all the time. You know, I'm living a very abundant, fun lifestyle. It was exactly what I was visualizing back when I was in Ireland. I could have looked at this lifestyle and said, there's no way I can get there. That's impossible. That's delusional. And I did do that sometimes. But you know what actually mattered was the moments where I came back to my present moment, to where I was stood in that box room on my own in Ireland with one client and not enough money to move, right? And I was thinking, okay, what can I do next? What can I do with what I have? So I picked up the phone and I started cold calling. So this is for my previous business. I had a marketing agency. I could have kept thinking, I'll never get there. It's so far away. I'll never get there. But I didn't. I instead said, what can I do today? What choices can I make today? Even if right now I don't know how the dots are going to connect, what choices can I make right now today to A, become that version of me who lives in this dimension? That's most important. And B, start building momentum towards a goal. Start taking baby steps. Start some kind of process. Put some kind of wheels in motion to show myself that I'm moving in a new direction. So I did something that I never wanted to do, that I was so scared to do. I started cold calling, like relentlessly, cold calling business owners for my business. And I got a couple more clients, I got some referrals, got some money, got some confidence, became a more empowered version of myself because I showed myself I could do something that I never thought I could do, cold calling people, biggest fear ever, overcame that. I started becoming a new version. Why? Because of the choices I was making with what I had, even when my life looked a million fucking miles away from what I wanted. All the choices that I needed to make were available to me, even when my life looked like shit. And it's the same for you. No matter how far away you are from what you desire, the choices that you need to make to get there are right in front of you. They're not over there, they're right here. So come back into this moment, this day, and what you actually have. One of my favorite quotes is, do what you can with what you have, because that's how you get moving. So me, on paper, even though I knew this wasn't my soul-aligned business, doing marketing, whatever, I knew I wanted to become someone who could generate income on my own, who could provide a good service for clients, who could make a sale, who could manage a client relationship, who could get results, who could provide that service. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to embody that energy and show myself that I could be empowered enough to do that. So me picking up the phone in that box room on my old slow laptop with my Excel file of business names and my hands shaking and my voice shaking and calling business owners, that was a choice that had such a massive ripple butterfly effect into my life. Because one time, one woman answered the phone, one of my wonderful old clients, answered the phone, signed her up, we got amazing results, I got a referral from her, I got a referral from her referral, and then I was supported enough to be able to move country, right? And not only that, okay, physically it supported me. That one phone call, that one act of starting to cold call, that obviously rippled into those physical things happening and me getting financial gain. But it was representative of my character, of my ability to now make hard choices that stretched my identity and showed me that I was not who I was before. So when I finally arrived in Spain, I was a different version of myself. I was a more empowered version of myself. I was the version of me who was bold, who was courageous, who was not afraid to step outside my comfort zone and take action and make a sale and demand more for life, right? I put myself so far out of my comfort zone with all of my choices while I was in this old shitty environment that when I landed in this new fun environment, I was an empowered version of me, and I was able to align with my soulmate, okay? So if I had arrived here and met this person who's now my partner as the old version of me, who'd never made a cold call, I honestly don't think we would have been an energetic match, because I hadn't let out that courageous, that empowered, that bold version of me until I really started pushing myself in business and showing myself what I was capable of. You know, I was kind of playing small, hiding in the dark until I started doing that. And that's not me. That's not like my most authentic self. So the choices you want to make are the choices that support you in becoming who you've always meant to be. And that's the kind of choices I was making. Even though on paper, in the box room in my family home in Ireland, you know, everything was saying to me that nothing was working and everything was shit. And like, I had no reason to be excited about this vision except for my ability to just run headfirst at all the things I was scared of and try to make something out of nothing. And everybody has that ability. So I had an itch, I had a feeling, okay, if I do this stuff, if I do this really hard stuff, I'm going to realize things about myself that I need to realize, that are going to support me in becoming my most authentic, embodied, and powerful self. So let me just do those things. Let me give myself that gift. Because I gave myself that gift, I started becoming that really embodied version of me who I always felt was under the surface. This is the thing. You're not becoming someone you're not. You're shedding away all the bullshit, all the fears, all the limiting beliefs by making choices that force you to overcome those, so you can become who you've always known you could be, right? And so because I was standing in that energy when I moved here and I met my partner, I was able to be the partner he was actually looking for, and vice versa, him to me, because he did a lot of inner work on himself by the time we met. If I had met him when he was 20, he wouldn't have been the guy for me. But because of all the inner work he did, and because of all the inner work I did, we crossed paths at the perfect time. We'd become our more embodied selves, not fully reached enlightenment. Now we work together on it every day, but we were perfectly aligned when we met. If I hadn't picked up that phone, if I hadn't made that choice, if I hadn't picked myself up from the bed, wiped my tears, stopped with this desperate energy, stopped complaining, stopped moaning, stopped crying, stopped saying everything's gone to shit, if I hadn't picked myself up, sat myself down, waited 30 minutes for my laptop to start, waited 30 minutes for my Excel sheet to load because my laptop was so slow, picked up that phone shaking, I wouldn't have become that version of me. I wouldn't have made the move, I wouldn't have met the partner, and the partner I met has been so supportive in me starting this channel, has been such a masculine anchor to my feminine creativity and my energy. It was all a butterfly effect, you get my point, okay? So it started with that simple decision of making a new choice in an old environment. You've got all the choices available to you right now, my love. You don't need to keep running around and worrying about the future or stressing about the past. You've got to look at the options that are available before you right now, because I got this, I don't know where it came from this morning, whether you want to believe in God or source or whatever, infinite intelligence. The all-knowing power is very intelligent, and it wouldn't leave you stood here with no option to get to this thing that your heart is screaming for. The answers are right in front of you. It says in the Bible, wisdom crieth in the streets, in Genesis. So the wisdom, the clues, the options, the decisions, the portals to the next levels, they're all right there in front of you, but they're probably in the things that you're avoiding. They're probably in the things that are going to stretch your character, going to stretch your zone of comfort, but they're right in front of you. So you would not be left with this desire in your heart with no way of getting there. But the thing is, the trick of the ego is to get you looking at everything but the obvious choice that's right in front of you. Sorry, my dogs are scratching. Okay, they're okay. Yeah, you wouldn't be left here. Like, I was thinking again this morning about my kind of next vision, and I just suddenly had this image in my mind of all these different pathways, and I thought, well, the choices that I need to make are right in front of me to start getting there. So there's a choice you can make today that's going to ripple affect the choice that you can make in a week. That's going to affect the choice that you can make in a month and a year, and so on and so on. Every decision compounds. You know, I wouldn't be able to show up in my coaching business, in my videos now, if I hadn't started my previous business and overcome so many things with so many little choices to stretch myself. Every little choice you make is a portal. Every decision you make is a portal. And the divine creator wouldn't leave you sat here with no option to get over here. So there's choices you can make right now that are going to start moving you over there. And they're probably the choices you're avoiding. And that's a clue, by the way, okay? They're probably the choices you're avoiding. And if you're not sure what those choices are, I'm going to give you a clue. It's more than likely the choices that stretch you into becoming your next level self. So if you don't know where to go, go to those. You can start small. Always you can start small with everything. You can start making a decision to eat healthier, to eat as the higher version of you, to eat as the version of you who's over here. You can make the decision to dress as the version of you who's over here, to start speaking and communicating as the version of you that's over here, and to just start taking more courageous actions that put you outside of your zone of comfort and challenge your identity. Those are always going to be choices that move you out of this experience of reality and towards a new experience. And listen, you don't have to worry about, well, how am I going to be able to get to this step? You've got a step where you are. So I actually had on my wallpaper when I was in Ireland in this hard time where nothing was certain. I just had this dream for a better life and I couldn't be further away from it, you guys. I literally couldn't have been further away. But I just was like, fuck it, I'm just going to keep trying. I had on my wallpaper, step by step by step by step, to remind me every day today, you take the next step as best you fucking can. You take that step as boldly, as courageously, as passionately, as open-mindedly and open-heartedly as you can. You just do that step with all your will, and the next step will become clear once you step on that next step. And the more passionately you can do the step that's in front of you, the better the second step will be. That's something I figured out as well. So if you can do your best with the step that's right in front of you, the next step will be great. The next step will bring you so much more clarity. And you just have to keep stepping on the step that's right in front of you. Guys, in quantum mechanics, they've even shown this. I think there's an experiment called the many worlds model, where basically it takes the double slit experiment a step further. The double slit experiment showed that when we observe electrons are just waves of information or possibilities in that quantum field, right? When they're observed, they collapse into particles or matter. So that showed that we're not separate from our external world, and how we're observing things can influence the way that particles materialize around us, right? And the many worlds model takes it a step further and basically states that the other possibilities that were not observed do not just disappear into nothingness, they fall away into a parallel reality or infinite parallel realities with infinite corresponding observers. So just remember, when you make a decision, that is a portal to another timeline, to another possibility. Is it going to be the timeline that you've been experiencing for your whole life? Or is it going to be a new timeline? The decisions that stretch you, the decisions that are difficult, the decisions that make you step way out of your zone of comfort are always going to be the decisions that put you on a new trajectory, that have that butterfly effect to your desired reality. And the most amazing, most powerful thing that you will ever realize is that those choices, those decisions are available to you right now. That's how you take the reins of your life. This is how you take your power back and actually start moving towards your dreams. This can be as small as, instead of spiraling into a negative mood, instead of complaining, you catch yourself and you put yourself in a more positive frame of mind. Do you know how powerful even that little decision is? That has a ripple effect. That has a compound effect. You can make the decision when you go into a new environment to go in as the most confident version of you, as the most open version of you, as the most curious and engaged version of you. You can make the decision to ask questions, to listen to people, to genuinely, look people in the eyes and want to get to know them. All of these little decisions matter. You can make the decision to reach out to someone, to form a new connection, to try a new hobby, to try a new project, to set up that landing page, to cold call that business. Whatever it is, you can make an infinite amount of decisions in one day. You've got the power. The small decisions and the big decisions matter. How you treat your body, how you feed your vessel, right? So I mentioned a minute ago, you can start small with this and you will soon see the compound effect of decisions, because they're portals into new energy fields where new decisions become available to you that will get you closer and closer and closer. Think about it's like moving through all these different portals. Right? So me making the decision a couple of years ago to start meditating is what allowed me to start breaking my anxious attachment, is what allowed me to start thinking about leaving that toxic relationship, is what allowed me to leave then that toxic relationship and then start considering that other things were possible for me, okay? That I could move country, that I could make money, that I could be a business owner. So meditation was my first small step and decision that had a compound ripple effect out into everything else. Eating healthy, going to the gym, these were really big things that allowed me to start mastering my mind and mastering my energy. And every decision you make, it's not just a decision, it's like a spiritual, energetic shift. And it's something that really, like when you choose in a moment to react with anger instead of love, that's a decision. When you choose in a moment to binge on junk food instead of make that healthy dinner, that's a decision. And each decision is a portal to a different experience. Even if you have to start on the side of the road with nobody and nothing, you start making these decisions. That is your shovel to start climbing out of here. Before you know it, you're going to be over here making a decision on when to get your Ferrari washed, okay? I know it sounds ridiculous, but like, I'm living this right now. I'm seeing my partner just bought his dream car this week, and I just saw he just kept showing up. He kept pushing himself. He kept making the right choices every day. He kept shaking hands. He kept, asking the right people to go for coffee, forcing himself to network, forcing himself outside his comfort zone. Now he's driving his own supercar. It just happens, decision by decision, commitment by commitment. You've got to start where you are. You've got to do what you can and realize the power that each decision holds.